It's good to see you guys. After reviewing the tape, a lot of positive things, still things to be corrected. And so we spent really yesterday honing in on those things. Excited to be with the team today. I go back to last week. Monday was really our best Monday up to this point, and so looking to better that. I think you pull back even further. You look at the last 2 weeks, and you look at a mediocre week of practice. Then you look at the result, and you look at a great week of practice, and you look at the result. And so I think there's more than enough there to inspire and to move our team to take the next step. And looking forward to doing that. Any questions you guys got?
Dave, we have a little extra insight into this game with Coach Grimes and Coach Mateos here into BYU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Grimes's knowledge just from last year, I think, is always going to be. It's funny. Always want to be respectful of that. I think back when I was at Wisconsin and I left to go to LSU, and the first game at LSU was at Lambeau Field versus Wisconsin. And I remember coming out of the tunnel in the new colors, and everyone's stretching for Wisconsin. They're all kind of stopped to wave at me. It was just so awkward, right, from my part and theirs. But there's a lot of emotion that comes with that. But I just remember throughout that week, or through the lead up of that in the summer and everything, you're grateful for being on a new team and for everything that's been done for you. At the same time, you're still respectful for the team that you were on and for their investment in you and those relationships. And so I try to be really honed in on what we're asking, what's important, what's not, and so that Jeff and Eric and then Matt Mitchell's with us too, so that they feel that they're they can say what they want to say and not have to say something that they don't feel that they are not comfortable with. And so I think their input just on philosophies and stuff, I think, is going to be helpful for us.
Dave, kind of on the flip side of that, with Grimes and Mateos on your sideline, and do you mix up signals? Do you change anything this week, knowing that BYU had both those guys last year?
Yeah, I think a lot of the signals are different from the beginning. I think there's some language on the line of scrimmage that would be the same, and so we're looking at changing those up.
Dave, as a writer, I really appreciated your sports car versus truck analogy when it came to the D-line. I was wondering if you could dig into that a little bit more. When you say that you want those guys to be trucks, what do you kind of mean there? Is that like stopping the run? I mean, what does that mean?
Yeah, heavy lifting, I think, heavy duty, a lot of horsepower, can take a dent, can roll through ditches, can pull a lot of weight, push a lot of weight. I think those things. I think and then I think from the other side of it, the sports car imperative, it's taking corners fast. I think it's looking a certain way. I think it's not a lot of heavy duty work associated with those cars. Those are more Friday night and maybe Saturday night, maybe Sunday afternoon. And so I think just the work ethic piece, the hitting blocks, taking on double teams, doing dirty work, right, pushing a lot of weight. I think those are things. That's a mindset, and so I think that's a change. And so for people to feel that, and then to feel like, hey, this is not all we do. This is part of what we do. There's always going to be blitzes, and there's always going to be, you stop the run so that you can have some fun. I think that was apparent on Saturday, not only with the score, but with our ability to play the run better, there's the first time really this year we got people into true passing situations, which allowed us to rush the passer. And so I think it's you prescribe to that type of thought of stopping the run. I think it starts. You can take it all the way back. The starting point would be that truck analogy.
Coach, Jaren Hall's probably the best athlete under center you guys are going to face this year. How do you keep a guy like that in check, especially on like a third down situation?
Yeah, I think I have a lot of respect for him and for their attack. I think there's a great competitiveness there and a great instinct there, and so it's just more layers to their approach with him and what he can do, and so that's something we're looking at right now. I think if it doesn't start there, it's closely followed there.
Coach, is there a unique challenge to this kind of non-conference opponent that's kind of stuck in the middle of conference play like this?
I look at a team. In Kalani. I've known Kalani for a long time. Have known Ed Lamb. Ed was at University of Redlands when I was at Cal Lutheran. I want to say he was at University of Redlands when I was at Redlands High School. And so I've known Ed for a really long time. I think Cal Lu and Redlands are big rivals, and I can remember meeting with Ed and talking DB play, and we weren't really supposed to be doing that because of the rivalry. And then I remember visiting with Ed when he was at University of San Diego, and I was at Delta State with Ron Roberts, and I left Delta State to go to Southern Utah when Ed was the head coach there. I was there for maybe 2 months before Hawaii, but a lot of respect for him. Elisa worked with at Utah State. Kevin Clune worked with at Utah State. A lot of these guys I know and have a ton of respect for. And so I know that BYU is going to be an angry team, and they're going to be motivated, and they're going to want the stage to show that they belong. And so I think from a big picture view, I can see kind of that question. I think from our seat and what's in front of our windshield, it's more of here's a team that's looking to prove something, and with bringing some intensity that we have to exceed.
Dave, what do you see from Tyler Algier? He's had a whole lot of rushing yards.
Yeah, physical. He looks like it's a linebacker playing running back. I think it may start with him. We were just talking just a minute ago. I think it may start with him and just the driver of that attack and the physicality. So he has an 8-yard run, falls forward, gets up off of a linebacker that he just put in the ground. I think that drives the offense, and I think everything kind of is energized by that, and so I think that is a focal point. I think we have faced running attacks before, but not to the level of this, and so can see it, believe it, and now it's up to us to stop it.
Dave, obviously it starts up front with the D-line, but what are some of the keys to stopping the run the way you guys did Saturday?
We play with better technique. I think, to go back to that truck analogy, it was really some of that. I think it's a mindset, really. I think when you're approaching a game of like, I'm going to strike these guys, I'm going to lock these guys out, I'm going to set edges, I'm going to knock this back, right? When you're taking that approach, then you're going to be more apt to double team after double team, hit after hit, down after down, finding more opportunities to do that. I think if you're thinking that I need to jet a B gap or I need to get skinny in an A gap, you're going to somehow, some way find a way to do that in the midst of trying to hit a block. And so I think our readiness and our acceptance of kind of the requirement where everything's at, and we talk a lot about our 111th, and so be you but align with us. And so we have a lot of colorful characters on defense, guys that I really do love and have come to know, and appreciate very much. I think for all those colorful characters to come together and play as one unit, we can be darn good. And I think we just need to play as one.
Looking at the depth chart, Calen Barnes is on here as a go. Is he expected to have limited reps or just full 100%?
We're starting him off slow to begin. I think he was right. He was right at the precipice for Saturday. So we're going to start him off slow to start. But my anticipation would be full go.
Dave, Taekwon Thornton has had a really good year, much improved over last year. What's kind of happened with him?
I think his belief in himself. I think his acknowledgement of what goes into a week can bear fruit on Saturday. I think his acceptance of coaching. I think his awareness of details and their importance, and his commitment to the team, I think have all improved. And I think his play has followed that suit.
He and Gary have a really good connection. Gary's mentioned that they would throw together after practices and whatnot before he was named the starter. Have you seen that connection continue to develop either in practice and on the field?
I think there's a comfort level there. I think there's times when Ty maybe had more to give, or we thought there was more there. I think Gary would be a guy that could get it out of him. I think their respect for each other is real, and I think, as coaches, we can always say something or make a point or make a request, but when there is a teammate that you love that's bringing something up or asking for more or asking for this or asking for that, in my experience is the answers have been quicker and been better, and so I think those two create a really good team.
Dave, when you look at that 2019 LSU defense, you had all those second level players and guys like Apu and Terrell, they're so physical. When you compare the physicality of those two defensive units, I mean, does it come close? Where are they in comparison?
With this unit? Yeah, no, I think there's similarities. I think this defense here is still finding its identity. I think really I felt for the first time Saturday we put some stuff on tape. I think previous to that there was a big play here or a big play there, and it was those big plays were intermittent between 8 guys playing something the right way, a couple of guys not, right? 9 guys playing things the right way, a couple guys not. And so I think the most consistent effort that we've had has been the Saturday. So for us to build off of that, I think the level of offenses are only going to increase here as we go, and so our aptitude and our intensity must increase too.
Coach, just in terms of Gary and how effective he's been through the air, but also taking care of the ball, what elements go into not only having success from a yardage and touchdown standpoint, but also having 0 interception through 6 games?
Yeah, I think his care factor. I think of that right away. I think of being coachable. I think of all the time that he's put into it, and just his effort and his work ethic. I think of his ability to come back from failure. I think, Gary's one that you don't when you meet Gary or you pass him in a hallway, there's nothing. It just radiates success, man, right? Confidence, and so I think there's levels of that. I think for him to experience some failure and to only grow from that, and to only have that strength in him. I go to the Iowa State game or the Oklahoma State game, for example. I think that is, we're getting a new and improved Gary from there, and I think he will continue to make those strides. I think his mindset and where his connection with Sean and Jeff is in a really good spot to do that.
Abram has been one of the top runners in the Big 12 all year, and he's really had to wait his turn. Mm-hmm. Is that gratifying for you as a coach?
Yes.
To see that?
Yeah. I think Abram's got there is an understatedness about him that I appreciate. There's a toughness about him that I recognize, I appreciate. There is a tough guy that's a real tough guy that's there that I see and appreciate, and I know our whole team does. And so for someone like that that does his stuff with his actions and not his words, all for that.
Dave, kind of be your first quote-unquote real homecoming here, you know, with 100% capacity and everything.
Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting? Are you excited about that?
I am, yeah. I thought, I remember we were just talking about today, the last homecoming, I think I actually spoke, and, we were all masked up, and it was a different experience. And I remember coming to Baylor and hearing about homecoming and the traditions and the importance of it, way looking forward to that. And so excited for our team, and then excited for my family to be able to see that.
Dave, we talked about how this isn't a conference game, but in a few years it will be. Is there anything you see when you look at BYU that makes you think they'll be a good fit in this league?
Well, yeah, so the long view of it is I think they're going to be a great fit. I think the physicality of them, so I think like BYU, played BYU when I was at Hawaii. It was the last game I think I had at Hawaii. We got fired shortly thereafter, and then went to Utah State and played them, and then went to Wisconsin and played them, and then LSU played them, and so now here. And so, there's a lot of respect for BYU, for their physicality, for their maturity, for their toughness. They are very much there's a lot of athleticism there, but they're very much the gym rat, that's the bully, they have been able to pull out wins all different types of ways. And so just when I was at Hawaii and at Utah State, felt that very much just with the coaching circles that I was with at that time. And so since that time, I've had just a ton of respect for them. And then now knowing their coaches and the direction that they're headed and what Kalani has really been able to grow there, a lot of respect. It's going to be a good matchup.
Dave, y'all obviously have bigger goals, but y'all can become bowl eligible this week.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you will mention to the team?
No. Yeah, I think for us, like, to have a great Monday and for us to have really intentional meetings and to have, we have to, when we're out on practice today and we're on the left hash and we're going to take the drill and go to the right hash, like, we need to jog and run to that. My day is going to be really kind of, are we running to this, right? Are we looking to get the most out of today, or are we looking just to kind of go through the motions because we had a W, on Saturday as opposed to an L the week before? And so I see this week as really being central that way in terms of how we do what we do.
All last week you talked about how there will be times where you're going to have to throw to establish the run as opposed to running to establish the pass. Do you feel like that was the case on Saturday, and how nice was it to put something like that on film for the guys to be able to see?
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I think it was really good. I thought, there was looks where Gary was confident and stuff would be there, and then for him to get the ball out quick so that it was there was good to see. And then I think there's times where Gary's on the move and he's got to make throws with people in his face, and that was good to see. I think his, from the previous game where there was some urgency and some feelings of frantic in the pocket, to where there's people kind of closing in and there's walls kind of caving down, and he's calm and collected and gets the ball out in the pocket. It was good to see. And so I think there's a strong resurgence there, and even better than what was there before.
being 11 out of 14 on fourth down, conversions, I mean, obviously that's a huge asset to your offense. So this season, harping on that, what have you seen maybe a response out of your players? Because, I mean, it has to be a little different of approach as a player. If you don't get it on third down, well, hey, we're still going to, we can coach trust in us to stay on the field to get that fourth down.
Yeah, I think I appreciate that question. I think there's some education that has to go with that. I think we had Sean Bell, I think, spoke to the team on Wednesday just about what we use and kind of what our analytics look like, and the difference between maybe early in the game and late in the game on fourth down decisions, and how the decision's going to end with me, but there's a lot of work that goes into it prior throughout the week, and it's something that we as a staff spend a lot of time on. So I think that was important to do, because I think they appreciate it, and they're happy when it works. When it doesn't, they have to be on the same page for complementary football, and the other side's kind of stepping up and getting our back. And so I think we've seen that, but there'll be more opportunities. I think BYU is a great example. A lot of fourth downs coming in this game. They are great at fourth down, and they might be more aggressive than we are in that phase. And so for us on defense, that's going to be a new arena for us.
Anything else?
Thank you, guys.
Dave.